What's going on, guys? MStack back with another strategy guide video. In this video, we're going to be going over defense. If you need help on offense, make sure you check out the offensive strategy guide, which will be somewhere on the YouTube channel. I'm probably going to create a playlist for these things, and you'll definitely learn a lot from that video as well. But in this video, we're going to be talking about defense, okay? Just like the other video, we're going to be talking about pregame and during the game, okay? So pregame, you really want to figure out what not so much on offense is what your strategy is going to be as what your blitzes are going to be, what your coverage defense is going to be, and how to adjust to the different route combinations that exist in the game and the popular schemes that exist in the game. You can do this easily by checking out other streamers, what they're running. The West Coast Gun Bunch is super popular. Trips tight end. Any of the new, like the not new, but the more prevalent under center formations like I-form, close, single back, things like that, and then kind of game planning around that. Whereas offense is more pre-game strategy, defense is more reactionary. Okay, that's just the nature of the game. You're going to have to adjust to what your opponent's running to take away what they want to do the most. All right. So when you get into a game, typically what you're going to see from most players that you're going to run into online is they'll come out in some sort of a heavy set. If this is the case, what I do this year is I play super aggressive against these heavy sets, like this I-form tight that we have right here, because I don't want them to think that they can run the ball on me. All right. There's two things with running the ball. One, it's very effective. It is super annoying to defend an effective running game. And the other thing is it eats up a lot of clock. In short games like in MUT Online, unless you're playing like a CFM with long quarters, somebody that runs the ball effectively is going to take up a lot of the clock, and that's not what you want. You want to have more time for your offense, all right? So what I recommend is if you see somebody that comes out in a set like this, be very aggressive right off the jump. So what I would do is I would just blitz all my linebackers and then user the safety away from the receiver, because I don't want to give up anything deep, right? I'm okay if they complete something over the middle for a shorter gain, but I don't want them thinking that I'm soft and they can run the ball on me. All right, so when they snap the ball, I'm in there, I blitz all my linebackers. I'm trying to shut that run down. I don't want them getting in the habit of running the ball, okay? The next thing you do, and just like on offense, we're getting information, okay? So early on in the game, that first possession, don't be too crazy aggressive and give up a long touchdown. It's okay to be aggressive shutting down the run as long as you have your backside covered, right? But when they go into some shotgun stuff, I'll go into some, three wide receiver sets here. Don't go nuts and blitz them right away. I know that's the tendency because that's the cute thing to do. Everybody's running this pinch buck scheme, all this stuff. It's okay to fake the pressure. But if you go pressure and your opponent is savvy and he's prepared for what you're going to run because you're running some community stuff that everybody's seen, you're going to give up a touchdown the first play, and you're not going to see enough of their offense to really adapt and make adjustments throughout the game. Defense is all about adjustments, all right? So, for example, I'll come out in something safer like this cover 2 blitz that has soft squats, and I'll protect the deep middle, move the safeties out a little bit. And we're still pretty sound. We have pretty sound run integrity. We have decent coverage, right? And then you just kind of see what they do. You're going to use it around, try not to give up anything deep, and kind of get a feel for what your opponent wants to throw. Your typical opponent is going to give you an idea on their first series of the routes they want to throw if you successfully shut the run game down. And that's why I harp on shutting the run game down. Because if you can't shut the run game down, you have no clue at all what they like to do when they throw the ball. You have none. You need to get more reps against their throwing offense, okay? So go with something safe at first. And like I said, like I kind of hinted at, you can fake the pressure. So for instance, we'll go with this like sugar concept that everybody's running from 3-4 odd. We'll go something like this, but we won't send heat. Maybe we'll put the deep linebacker in the middle blue and then protect our hard flat on the right side, right? Because we're looking for the halfback to come out of the backfield. They may think we're in pinch buck, even if we press. You know, they might think, hey, he's probably in pinch buck. That's a popular community defense, but then you're really not. You know, you're in coverage. You know, you're pretty well covered on this play. All right, that's fine to do because then you also get a little bit more information. How do they react to the blitz? Do they just max protect, or do they send out some quick routes and try to snap throw? You also get an idea of where you should be using. Okay, in a defense like this, or any defense for that matter, you shouldn't be locked into just using one player. Okay, that makes your defense a little bit one-dimensional. Okay, and it's easier to take advantage of your defense if you're just they know where you're using all the time. The other thing is take note of their personnel. Okay, where they line people up. Now this applies to MUT, CFM, online regs, anything. Say you're playing the Oakland Raiders, right? You want to pay attention to where Antonio Brown is, okay? Because he's the best receiver on the team, probably the best in the game. Pay attention to where he's lining him up and why is he lining him up there. If he's lining him up in the slot, what's he doing with him? Is he running drags? Does he have a money route over the middle of the field that he wants to throw to AB? If it's MUT, pay attention to where those superstar guys are. Okay, does he have that Marcus Allen activated with that jukebox? Is there a Steve Young out there? Do I need to put out a QB spy? Get all that information early on. Okay, if you don't recognize that early on, and then later in the game, all of a sudden they break out Stevie Y's escape artist, and they hit you for a huge gain because you don't have a spy out there, you're really gonna be pissed at yourself. Okay, all right. So then it becomes the cat and mouse game in the middle of the game. Once you notice what formations they like to run, for example, in this one right here, gun doubles. The gun doubles halfback weak, I think it is. They have a tight end and a halfback that they can block. Okay, so if you're going to send pressure, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get this if they max protect. So that's why I have the tip of faking pressure early on to see if they will max protect, if they're willing to do that. Savvy players, when they see that, they'll have a good three-man route combination, a solid three-man route combination that beats zone coverage. And they'll be able to max protect and get time in the pocket. A bad player is typically just going to keep sending guys out on routes. Okay, send pressure every now and then on that first and second drive to see how they react to it. Now you'll see a lot of bad players go empty. Okay, if they go empty, don't send the pressure. All right, unless you know where they're going to throw, because this year using is a lot harder. Fake the pressure against empty or something spread out, but then have coverage, because a bad player will snap throw it. They've already made up their mind where they're going to throw the ball before you even set up your defense, before they even come out in the play. They already know where they're going to throw the ball, okay? If they may have like 1 to 2 reads. Take those first 2 reads away and they're cooked, okay? They'll just chuck it up into coverage and pray for something. They'll panic, they'll get flustered, they'll throw it right at your user. Middle of the game, you should still be gathering information, figure out when they like to mix in the run, okay? When they like to take their deep shots, what route combinations are really hurting you, and then continuously make your defense look the same if you're having somewhat success. If you're in this 3-4 odd and they're just absolutely destroying you no matter what adjustments you make, it's time to scrap that defense. Go to something different, okay? Go to a nickel set. Go to a dime set. Once they see that you're changing formations, they're going to change up their strategy a little bit. They may try to run the ball, okay? They may look at that formation and say, okay, I don't really need to max protect anymore. I can just send all these routes out. It's that constant chess match of what's he doing? Okay, what am I doing? He's going to look at you. What he's doing? What am I doing? It's that back and forth that you have to get used to, and you have to really embrace it, because you cannot set your defense up the same way every single time and have success in this game. It may work against bad players, but against good players, they're going to adjust and they're going to beat you, okay? The other part I want to talk about is red zone defense, okay? Don't be aggressive in the red zone. There's no reason to be aggressive in the red zone. Don't blitz. Play coverage, okay? Wait for those sheds. If you play coverage in the red zone, there is not enough grass for them to fit throws in. It's just not possible. They may have some good route combinations, but if you put out, you only rush 3, that means you have 7 in coverage. with all your areas covered. And I actually recommend man coverage with some zone adjustments in the red zone and a QB spy for the quarterback, of course. People are super crazy with their quarterback, and that's Steve Young out there just running around like a madman. You probably have to have a QB spy most plays anyways. But there's just not enough room for them to throw the ball. As long as you're sound in your run defense with the formation you come out in, then you'll be fine playing coverage. Okay, if you come out in quarters and you play coverage in the red zone, they're going to run all over you. So come out in something like 3-4 odd man coverage, 4-3 stack, some 4-3 formation, whatever. Come out in man coverage. It doesn't really matter if they don't match up route running as much because there's just not enough room to throw the ball. Okay, they can't run a deep corner route inside the 10. Okay, you should be fine in the red zone with that. All right. Also, this year's game has introduced RPOs. Realize what formations have good RPOs and learn from it and take mental note every single game so that when you see that again, you know not to completely abandon that receiver. For example, single back wing tight has an RPO, a stretch to one side and RPO slant to the other side. There's tons of gun formations with an RPO bubble screen, right? Make sure that you're aware and you make your opponent aware that you know that that's there. You could do that by, for example, if I think there's an RPO on this left side to Edelman, bring my user down and just kind of roam around here. So they already in their mind are saying, okay, I can't throw this RPO. He obviously knows it's coming. I'm just going to run the ball. That's fine. As soon as the ball snap and they run the ball, they pass, whatever, just vacate that area, go to where the play's going, move on. The last part is the bread drive, right? This is how we kind of broke down the offensive video. We went early game, middle game, late game. Late game, against good players, they're going to continuously mix things up, okay? But they're going to have tendencies still, okay? So you want to play conservative on defense because if you give up the touchdown, the game is over, okay? Unless you know, and unless it's a certain scenario like 3rd and long, 4th and long, that you should be blitzing because they need this certain route to get open and they need more time, then you should be playing conservative. That probably came out a little discombobulated, but you get the point, all right? Play conservative on defense. Know their tendencies and what routes have been killing you throughout the game and try to bait those routes, all right? Bait them into throwing into coverage. If you can get them to hesitate and take sacks on that bread drive, and then you get them, like I said, then you get them into the long down and distances, then send heat. That's fine. Because you know pretty much at this point what routes they want to throw, all right? If your opponent's coming out in something totally different that they haven't come out in before, that's when you play uber conservative. You rush 3, you see what the heck they're trying to do, and you make sure you play in a safe defense, all right? When you get into that 2-minute drill, you want to be in a defense that you're comfortable adjusting out of. That what I mean by that is not just changing the coverages, but also blitzing, because they're going to be hurrying up a lot, and when they're hurrying up, they already have an idea of what they want to do next play. If you throw them kind of a curveball and give a pressure look, that means they have to rethink what they want to do on that particular play. And a lot of players, the average players, can't really do that. They can't come up to the line after a hurry up, have an idea in their mind of what they want to do, and then switch it on the fly, right? So basically what my suggestion is go into your base defense on that final drive, or at least something that you're really familiar with, and can make good adjustments out of. For me personally, it's nickel normal. I feel like I have great coverage out of that. I can get to every coverage that I need to. The defense is really versatile against the run and the pass, and I can send pressure when I need to. So find your nickel normal, and I would run that on the bread drive when your opponent really needs to score. If you're in a situation, however, where it's the end of the game and they're trying to clock you, you got to be super aggressive. Don't be afraid to run commit. If they're in something heavy, even if they're not in something heavy, and you know they're going to run the ball, just run commit, man. You're either going to win or you're going to lose the game. But if you run commit and you stop them for 3 yards in the backfield, that is massive because you don't have to run commit again now. You can give up 2 to 3 yards on the next 2 plays, and then they're still in a 4th down situation. All right, they're thinking about punting the ball or going for it. And that's really the decision that makes the game, whether they punt it or go for it. If they go for it and they get it, well, yeah, game's over. If they punt it, you get your shot, but you're a little bit deeper. And then if they go for it and they don't get it, well, now you're in a really good spot to score. Okay, you have great field position. Also, if they are in those heavy sets, don't be afraid to call cover 0. Okay, the only thing you really need to worry about is the RPOs. If they're in a heavy set and you're calling cover 0, that means they have tight ends on the field, which probably don't have the greatest route running. It's fine to be super aggressive. And one little quick tip, if you haven't used it at all during the game, you can use a rush. I know it's kind of scummy. I know it's kind of frowned upon in the community, but if you're at the end of a game, your opponent's in something like this, and you're right here, you bring your user down to guard the RPO or whatever, they think you're going to bail and play coverage, they snap that ball, and then you just run into the backfield, boom, that's a huge sack. Don't be afraid to whip that out once or twice a game, all right? Especially on the bread drive when you need to make a stop. Guys, that's it for the defensive strategy video. I'm not like a defensive mastermind or anything. I'm much better at offense, but I hope this video helped you guys as far as getting in the right mindset and how to play defense throughout the game and how to prepare yourself to play defense before the game. Make sure you guys hit the follow button, the subscribe button. I'll be streaming on Twitch pretty much most days except for Wednesday, and some days on the weekend I have to work. Twitch.tv/mstack42. The link will be in the description. Share this with your friends. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Deuces.